You know that feeling? A gloomy day rolls in and suddenly you're in a bad mood? Or maybe you're one of those people who can feel a storm coming in your joints. Well, it turns out that might not be all in your head. Today, we're going to dig into the surprising science that connects the weather forecast directly to your health.
I mean, think about it. We have so many phrases that tie our feelings to the weather. Someone has a sunny disposition or a face like thunder. And of course, the big one, feeling under the weather. It's like this idea is baked right into our language.
So, what's the deal? Is there any real science behind these sayings, or is it just a bunch of old wives' tales? Are our bodies and minds really, truly connected to the air around us? Well, that's what we're here to find out. Let's dig in.
All right, first up, let's talk about the physical stuff. We'll get to the feelings and moods in a bit, but for now, let's look at the actual, measurable, biological ways the weather gets its hooks into our bodies. And we're going to start with a piece of advice I'm pretty sure you've heard a million times.
You've heard it your whole life, right? Bundle up or you'll catch a cold. For the longest time, science kind of rolled its eyes at this, saying, no, you get sick from viruses, not from the cold. But, and this is a big but, some really cool recent research has found a fascinating biological reason that proves, yep, Mom was actually right all along.
Okay, so here's what's actually going on inside your nose. It's pretty wild. When a virus tries to get in, the cells in your nose, your body's front line of defense, unleash billions of these tiny little bubbles called extracellular vesicles. You can think of them like a swarm of mini-missiles that go after the invaders. But, and this is the key, when you breathe in cold air, the temperature inside your nose can drop by about 5 degrees Celsius. That little bit of chill is enough to basically stun your tiny defenders. It cuts your immune response in your nose by almost half, and suddenly that virus has a much better shot at getting you sick.
And it's not just about catching a cold. For the millions of people who suffer from migraines, a simple change in the weather can be the difference between a totally fine day and, well, a really bad one. So the big question is, which weather factors are the real culprits? So, to get a clear answer, scientists did this huge meta-analysis, basically combining the results of 31 different studies. And the verdict was crystal clear. Changes in temperature? Yep, a big trigger. Changes in barometric pressure? Absolutely, a major trigger. But here's the shocker. Humidity, the thing everyone seems to blame, turns out it showed no significant link. Kinda surprising, right?
But hold on, just because humidity doesn't seem to trigger migraines, that doesn't mean it gets a free pass. Oh no, it has a huge impact on our lungs. For starters, that heavy, humid air can actually activate nerves that narrow your airways, making it harder to breathe. It also acts like a sticky trap for all sorts of nasty stuff, pollen, mold, pollutants, and it's the perfect environment for dust mites and more mold to grow. So for anyone with asthma, this is basically a recipe for disaster.
Okay, so we've seen the clear physical side of things, but this connection goes way deeper than just our lungs and our sinuses. Now let's talk about what the weather is really doing to our minds.
So how does a sunny day literally translate into a better mood? And can a scorching heat wave really make us all more anxious and irritable? The answer, it turns out, is all about brain chemistry.
To get this, we've got to talk about serotonin. You've probably heard of it. It's often called the feel-good chemical. It's a neurotransmitter, and it's a super important player when it comes to regulating our mood, our happiness, and even our anxiety.
And the link here is incredibly direct and powerful. More sunshine equals more serotonin. It's that simple. In fact, get this. Research shows our skin actually has its own little biological factory for making serotonin when it's exposed to sunlight. And when you think about it from an evolutionary standpoint, that makes perfect sense, right? You want your mood and energy to be highest when there's the most daylight to get stuff done. This is pretty much why our serotonin levels peak in the summer and fall, and then take a nosedive in the winter, which helps explain those winter blues so many of us feel.
But, of course, there's always a flip side. While that nice, warm sunshine can be great for our mood, too much heat can do the exact opposite. We're talking about high temperatures being linked to more irritability, more agitation, more stress. It's the difference between a pleasant sunny day and one of those soul-crushing heat waves.
And you know what's crazy? It doesn't take long for this to happen. A recent study found that just an hour and a half, 90 minutes, of heat exposure was enough to seriously ramp up anxiety levels. That's a powerful reminder of just how fast our environment can mess with our mental state. Okay, so let's zoom out a bit. These day-to-day weather changes are one thing, but what happens when the entire global system starts to shift? This brings us to the much bigger, long-term toll of a changing climate.
So basically, every single effect we've just talked about, both physical and mental, is getting turned up to 11 on a global scale. Think of climate change as a massive amplifier for all these health risks, making everything more frequent and a whole lot more intense. And this isn't just a theory, this is documented stuff. A major report from the European Parliament directly links climate events to some really severe mental health issues. We're talking about PTSD and depression after major disasters, but also brand new conditions like eco-anxiety, which is basically a chronic fear about the future of the planet, and something called solastalgia, which is the sadness you feel when the environment you love, right in your own backyard, is changing for the worse.
And when you look at the numbers, it's pretty stark. Just a 1 degree Celsius increase in monthly temperature has been linked to a 0.7% rise in suicide rates in the US. Meanwhile, we're looking at a potential jump of up to 11% more asthma cases each year. But this part is the real gut punch. The most vulnerable are paying the biggest price. A staggering 88% of the disease burden from climate change falls on children under the age of 5.
So, wow, we've gone from the tiny cells inside our nose all the way out to the entire global climate. So what does it all mean when you put all the pieces together?
Well, the verdict is in. Feeling under the weather is not just some quaint old phrase. It's a scientifically proven reality. From the way cold air can literally cripple the immune defenses in your nose, to how sunshine directly messes with the mood-regulating chemicals in your brain, the connection is absolutely undeniable.
And that leaves us with one last really big question to think about. For all of human history, we've had to adapt to the weather. But now, for the first time ever, we are the ones fundamentally changing the weather. We know for a fact that the weather changes us. So, what happens when we're the ones changing the weather?